Hi, Brandon Perna here. I was just wondering if you had maybe a favorite joke from Odd Man Sports you wanted to share?
Yeah, no, not right now.
Understood.
Maybe next week.
Welcome back to a very special episode of Odd Man Sports. I'm your dumb host, Brandon Perna. And if you're wondering what makes this episode so special, I'll tell you, today's show is the 100th episode of Odd Man Sports. Cue the balloon drop, Tony, let's celebrate. Cue it, Tony. No balloons? Now, over the course of the 100 episodes, so much has happened. Mostly to my face, which went from this, to this, to this, then to this, and finally to this. That monkey tail beard may have been a mistake, as I might have been a mistake according to my mom. But seriously, reaching 100 episodes really does feel like an accomplishment. It also gives me another thing in common with the great Wilt Chamberlain, because I too once penned a book chronicling the number of women I slept with. 6. Which is still 5 more than Tim Tebow. Now, to give you a sense of how long we've been making this show, when we started, a gallon of gas cost under $1, and the NBA consisted mostly of plumbers and firemen, who were weirdly incredible at basketball. Speaking of Bob Cousy, in honor of the 100th episode, I'm giving away 100 of these Bob Cousy's koozies to the first 100 people who comment below anything but first. So what do we have in store for today? Jokes, sports jokes, but not just any sports jokes. The hand-picked best sports jokes by me from the first 100 episodes. It's a clip show, followed by a much-needed vacation to Hawaii that will hopefully look like the exact opposite of Tom Brady's recent trip. Damn, Jane Fonda is 84, and I kind of think I still would. Where was I? 100 episodes, right. Here's the only serious thing you'll hear me say, ever. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has been watching this show. You guys, you're the best. And thanks to the Game Day for betting on me, even though it may not have paid off like Rich Strike or Covered ever, but it's been fun. All right, though, on to the best jokes from the year. Well, it's been quite a week for crazy rich people making headlines. Jeff Bezos chartered a giant penis to take him into space. And David Neeleman, the founder of JetBlue, who happens to just be Zach Wilson's uncle, is chartering a plane to fly 200 BYU fans directly from the September 11th game against Utah to Zach's debut the next day against the Panthers. The idea of a billionaire airline owner charging fans up to $800 to cheer on his nephew left a bad taste in many people's mouths. Mine included, though for a slightly different reason. I don't know, because maybe the 20th anniversary of September 11th isn't the best day to commandeer a plane, pack it with religious fundamentalists, and route it directly towards New York's big new attraction. Just a thought. We're only a few days away from the Chiefs and Rams squaring off in Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Shit, Bengals and Rams. I still can't believe it's the Joe Burrow-led Bengals. Now, despite this year's game being played outdoors, all fans will be required to wear masks due to California law, with 2 exceptions. They're eating, or they're taking a photo with Magic Johnson. At least according to LA Mayor Eric Garcetti, who during the NFC Championship snapped a maskless pic with the Lakers legend.
I wore my mask the entire game, and when people ask for a photograph, I hold my breath and I put it here and people can see that. There's a 0% chance of infection from that.
And while the mayor has been mocked for this statement, I'm here to defend the mayor because the CDC has stated there's almost no risk of catching COVID outdoors. And besides, when has not wearing proper protection while being with Magic Johnson ever led to any problems? I can't think of one time. Bruce Arians made some surprising comments about quarterback Tom Brady, but it was a different Bucs veteran who found his name out there in the news this week.
Former Seahawks All-Pro cornerback Richard Sherman pleaded guilty to multiple charges today. The charges are tied to a situation at his father-in-law's house back in July. Sherman crashed his car into a construction zone before abandoning that car, then continuing on to the home in Redmond. While yelling at people through the locked door, he damaged his in-laws' home.
His attempts to get inside recorded on this doorbell camera.
Busted by the doorbell cam. And credit to the company who makes them for quickly capitalizing on this Richard Sherman news.
For decades, we've looked at home security the same. Set your alarm, leave your home. The Ring video doorbell can prevent a crime before it happens. Ring lets you see and speak with whoever's at your home from anywhere.
Hello? I'm feeding the children right now.
With Ring, you're always home. Available at ring.com.
Quarterback Jameis Winston, seen here, coming in second in a one-on-one drill with the tackling dummy, had an interesting misspeak regarding the team's 1-2 punch at running back.
I would say this offense has enough weapons to be very quarterback friendly. Have to have an elite offensive line, one of the best back tandems in the league.
This was surprisingly the second funniest NFL story involving the word tandem, because this is a real thing that exists. A photo of Rex and Rob Ryan riding a tandem bicycle. And while the internet had a good time with it, calling this a Freudian slip, I'm not so sure that's what it was, because a Freudian slip refers to an unconscious desire, and I really don't think Jameis Winston actually wants to have protected three-way sex with Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara, aka the Wishbone Offense. I mean, maybe he does, no judgment here, but what I actually think is happening is that Jameis just has a habit of jumbling words when he talks. Because this tandem condom mix-up wasn't even the funniest mix-up in his one interview. Because this is what came out when Jameis tried to say deja vu.
Visualization is the key, right? Like I'm trying to visualize that thing. I'm trying to make that thing vujade.
Vujade. Now, what is causing Jameis's word salad? I have some theories, which I won't share because, in the words of Dak Prescott, I think that's HIPAA. But what I hope more than anything is the case is this. Jameis Winston is just a huge fan of this George Carlin bit.
You ever get that funny little, that kind of feeling, that vuja day? You know, not deja vu, this is vuja day. This is the strange feeling that somehow none of this has ever happened before.
Okay, Tony, so one segment down, 2 to go. B block, more on the Brian Flores story, right?
Yep.
And you guys are just going to come in with the Bill Belichick texts?
Yeah, we got them. We'll roll them in.
This morning, a bombshell lawsuit with the potential to upend the NFL.
Brian Flores, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, filed a class action lawsuit against the New York Football Giants and the NFL.
I interviewed for the Giants position the Monday prior. I received a text message from Bill Belichick.
Now he gets a text from Bill Belichick. This is 3 days before Flores actually interviews in person.
Belichick wrote, "Sounds like you have landed. Congrats."
I asked him, "You talking to the right Brian?" And he was actually thought he was texting Brian Daboll.
Accidental text on purpose. Oh my, brilliant.
Brian Flores used to work as an assistant with the New England Patriots.
Brian Flores was going to take over in New England.
If we can get Flores to come back as the coach in waiting with the understanding he'll take over, it's the guy I want.
There are back channel conversations
back channel meetings, it was clear that that decision was made with his influence.
This botched exchange could change history.
All the claims that Belichick is being somewhat of a Luddite and doesn't know how to deal with technology.
I can't change the clock in my car. There should be something that you would say would be like clock.
You don't have to do heavy digging. Go back a couple of years.
Belichick tried to slip his son into the play caller position under the radar.
There's antennas that connect.
This was the first year I started to get a sense that maybe Steve's the one who takes over for Bill, not Josh McDaniels.
Maybe he saw a little bit of the writing on the wall there and said, I might be the one left without a seat here.
In the end, I don't know anybody that knows our football program better than Steven.
It is, for the most part, the family business.
Like I said, football's my thing.
He clearly is on the fast track. He clearly has the DNA to be another Bill Belichick.
Looks like he's the guy.
They get to do the father-son thing for as long as Bill wants to coach, and then when Bill's done coaching, Steve takes over.
We talked last night, and I decided to resign as the head coach.
Here's Robert Kraft right now. He'll sit down and make the official announcement.
I'm very excited to introduce to you our new head coach,
Steve Belichick.
Steve Belichick.
He's the most capable person at this point in time to help us win next year.
One of my favorite things is when something trivial and insignificant is treated like really important news. Like this.
We've got some big news, some breaking news out of Major League Baseball where the Cleveland Indians will officially be changing their name to the Cleveland Guardians.
In an age when it's hard to get anyone to agree on anything, Cleveland's baseball team achieved the impossible because everyone unanimously hates the name the Guardians. And not in that it's weird because it's new but will eventually get used to it way like iPod or Uber or Chad Ochocinco. The Guardians is apparently a reference to the Guardians of Traffic, a series of 8 mythical transportation icons carved into Cleveland's Hope Memorial Bridge. So basically, Cleveland renamed its baseball team after the Crossing Guards version of the Expendables. At least now, Guardians fans know the exact bridge they can jump off of when they're let down by their baseball team for a millionth time. Now, I will admit, at this point, naming a new franchise like naming a new beer is tough, because everything is already taken. Seattle's new hockey team went outside the box with the Kraken. It worked, I think people love it. But isn't that already taken as a rallying cry for the Anaheim Ducks? Release the Kraken. So what would I have suggested for Cleveland's new name? The Steamers, a reference to the city's textile history, is out for obvious reasons. The Cleveland Spiders has a nice ring to it. Maybe something based on the monster that supposedly resides in Lake Erie. And then, while watching this Cleveland local news story, it hit me.
Tonight, a 3 News Investigates exclusive with the possible, even if it's unexpected, union of 2 Cleveland legends.
Ooh, who's it gonna be? Drew Carey and Ernest Biner? Who's it gonna be? Tell us.
Browns great Bernie Kosar is opening his home and urging the release of Kevin McTaggart, the imprisoned former hitman of mobster Danny Green.
Wow, I didn't have either of them on my Cleveland celebrity bingo card. It turns out, Bernie Kosar, last seen here graciously throwing a pick 6 at a wedding reception, is hoping to take in a former Cleveland mobster involved in a series of killings in the 80s.
He feels remorseful and horrible what he's done and what's happened.
Now, personally, I have no interest in chiming in on another man's Weekend at Bernie's Mafia cosplay, but when you're making the case to spring a former mob boss early from prison, maybe don't dress exactly like Tony Soprano. No, that's former Dolphins coach Tony Sparano. I said Tony Soprano. There it is. There we go. All of this is a very long way towards making my original point. The perfect name for Cleveland's new baseball team, it was right there all along. An original name with an edge that ties to the city's history and had a perfect baseball twist. The Hitman. The Hitman! That's the one. All right, that's it for the show today. Join me next week as we break down Deshaun Watson's All 22, which has nothing to do with the coach's film and everything to do with all 22 settlements he's hoping to sign before the season starts, so he can be traded to a city that wants to openly welcome that.